Hey guys, so barefaced today because I want to do a comparison of two palettes I just got. They're both luxury and they're both stupidly expensive. This is the Pat McGrath Mothership Bronze Seduction, because I have a few of these palettes now. I wish there was something on the front or even on the back to really tell you really obviously what colour story it is, because unless you keep these things, it's so difficult to tell. I've been wanting to get my hands on this palette for a really long time. It's very bronzy, it's got a red pigment in there, and it's got some very golden, obviously, colours in there as well, which reminded me of something that I was like, oh, I don't need that because I have this one. So the newer Danessa Myricks, what was it? It was like the Freedom 7 palette or something like that. There was a few shades in there, which I was so tempted by. And then she came out with this little mini. This is the Everyday Magic, which I actually agree with. It's more cool tone, but it's got some really like shimmery shades in here. I wanted to see if I needed both. Obviously I have both. I'm not going to get rid of them. But I thought it'd be an interesting comparison because they're both luxury brands. And as Pat McGrath, there was a concern that Pat McGrath was going to go into bankruptcy, which is one of the reasons why I got so much of their stuff last month, is because of the fact that I thought if they go under, there's certain products I've always wanted. They had this kind of sale on that if you spend so much, you get a bigger percentage off of your total basket. So I got like 500 quid's worth of stuff for like 300 and something pounds. So I know that's a lot, but I got like a spare of my favourite foundation. I got a blush, which I'm going to be comparing to a Danessa Myricks product as well, just as a little bonus, and then 2 of these palettes and a few other things. I figured I may as well get my money's worth as I did last time and just do a comparison. So the first thing I'm going to do is put an eyeshadow primer on. I'm going to use different brushes, but I'm going to use the same eyeshadow primer on both. Make sure I have a very clear canvas. I like that there's so many things I like about the Danessa Myricks thing, but I like that this has a mirror in it. So I'm just going to use my Urban Decay. I'm pretty sure this has been discontinued, like this shade. I think they may have gotten rid of Eden. I don't know what is going on with Urban Decay as well. They used to be such like a hit brand, and nowadays they're just, they're a bit hit and miss, to be honest. I'm trying to use natural light, but it's a misty day today. Okay, I'm going to use literally the same brushes. I'm going to try and use very similar shades. The Pat McGrath one's a lot more chocolatey brown, whereas this one is more like ashy, but I think they'll be a bit closer as an experiment. I'm going to try and make sure I use similar techniques on how to blend them as well. So I'm going to start on my right hand side, your left hand side, and I'm going to press, and then once I've sort of distributed the pigment, and then I'm going to blend. Small circular motions. I've heard very good things about her matte shades, her being Danessa. That looks really nice. And then with a different brush, I'm going to go in with this shade. I'm trying to pick up a similar amount of product as well. So again, tapping the pigment and then going in with small circular motions. I'm trying to make sure you can see, hopefully, the colour payoff. This is slowly getting brighter and brighter. This fringe is driving me nuts. I keep looking at my viewfinder because I'm trying to make sure you can see the colour. See, this has got a black and this has got a purple. The more I look at these, the more I'm like, yeah, these are very different palettes. Okay, I'm going to have to just go off piece. I don't think I can do a complete comparison of both. I'm going to take the chocolatey shade, same brush. I'm just going to put that deeper in my socket. I've also said this shade is definitely warmer, the Pat McGrath one, than the Danessa Myricks, but I was kind of expecting that. I'm going to put this one like deeper in my socket. This one's definitely more cool tone, this whole palette. Even though there's that warm terracotta sort of shade, these blend so nicely together. Then I'm going to take the black. I don't think I'm going to need much. And I'm going to just put that on the edge. Just going to really place that on that sort of triangular part of my eye. Try and blend that edge. Blend with whatever's left of my brush. Backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. Blend over the top of that edge as well. Then, before I go back and do shimmers, I'm going to do a similar thing with this one. I'm going to take this deep chocolatey shade here. It's got more of a red base to it than the more terracotta-y orange Danessa Myricks. Because of that, this eye is definitely warmer than the Danessa side. But they do, again, blend really seamlessly. I put that directly in my socket and just blended the two together. Blend is just stunning. That looks a bit messy, but once the shimmer's on, it'll be fine. I'm going to take... This has only got like a very deep purpley shade. but I'm going to do a similar thing and put that on the outer corner. Just really concentrate that there. Triangular part of my eye. Really pat, 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 pat. And then kind of just try and blend them together. So before I go in with shimmers, I'll show you, turn this down a bit. So hopefully you can see the blend of them, how deep the outer corners are. As I say, the Pat McGrath side on my left, your right, it does have more of a plum shade to the outer edge. But I will say once it's blended, bar the fact that obviously the black is deeper, you can't tell that this is more of a plum shade. All in all, they've actually turned out, even though this is so much warmer than this when you look at the shades. So hard to see with the light. As I say, this one definitely looks more terracotta orange, but they've ended up very similar, I think. So I'm going to do a quick swatch, I think, of these. These two are definitely more mirrored, whereas Pat McGrath's shades, they've got different kind of finishes. So you've got more shimmery ones, like these, and then these ones are definitely more glitters. What looks similar? These way more metallic and mirrored. Golden shade, probably the closest. This shade and this shade. So a quick comparison of actually this shimmery gold. Ooh. Let me turn that down. Yeah, you can see the shimmer way better without the light. And then these two. I don't know which ones. I feel like it has to be this bottom one, maybe against the glittery. And that makes sense in some ways because obviously that's the one that's the most expensive. That's what you kind of pay for with these palettes, is these super glittery shades are definitely ones you pay for. Very similar, I imagine, to the Danessa Myricks, where these sort of like mirrored shades are very much what you pay for. So I'm going to go in with this one on my Danessa Myricks side. I'm going to go in with the finger because that's what I would normally apply a glitter or a shimmer with, and then I'll blend it. I blend a little bit with my finger, but so freaking stunning. I knew I would love that palette. Let's blend that. So I'm just going to do a light blending in the crease to blend the shade together, and then in between. So I'm taking this golden shade, I'm going to take it on a nice clean finger. Oh, this is definitely more yellow, but I wonder if I mix the two. No, it's technically cheating. This is just more yellow. Just a shimmery shade, just to kind of blend them together. And again, I'm going to blend because this is definitely very messy. Just trying to see if I could get something even slightly similar, but I definitely can't. The shimmers just aren't the same. Use my primer, clean some of the black off my face. So hopefully you can see the shimmer. So like I say, the Pat McGrath side is definitely more yellow. I could not find a shade even slightly. They're definitely more like yellow gold. I'm going to do majority of my base makeup, and then I'll come back and I'm going to compare these two. I've been loving cream blush recently. Divine Cream Blush Colour Balm. And then this is the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin. Well, she's got 100 million things in Yummy Skin range, so I'm guessing this is Yummy Skin Blush. So, I just finished off doing my face with the NARS Natural Radiant Longwear Foundation. I just want to use this up. Collection Lasting Perfection Concealer. Didn't even sit under my eyes, I haven't been doing that recently. I genuinely think my under eyes look better. Use my Sephora contour stick, the Say Dew Bronze in Salt, my Anastasia Beverly Hills Amrezy highlighter, which I also put on my inner corners. I'm going to use that on my old brow pencils. This is the Glow and Ray Precise Brow Definer, Too Faced Brow Wig. And then to finish off the eyes, that's the lip liner. I need my eyeliners. I got a few of the Permagel Ultra Glide eye pencils. I got the colour Shade and the colour Black Coffee, which are very, very similar. So one's ever so slightly more cool toned, but otherwise, once they're on, there's no way of telling. I used the black today by my eyelashes and my inner and lower waterlines. So I didn't use like a liquid liner today, I just used pencil. And then mascara, I used the Pat McGrath Dark Star mascara. Lip liner, I have a few of these Pat McGrath ones. I actually used a bunch. I literally used every single one of them and then decided the Beyond Beige was the best one. So that's on my lips. And I also used a tiny bit of the Line and Load by NYX, which is really old, in DM Me. It's nice just to dab in the middle. I bought these a while ago and they are genius for keeping eyeliners in. Something I did want to mention really quick. I do have Danessa Myricks eyeliners, but I only have these like fun these fun colours. So I can compare them to like Essence if you want, but I don't have any fun. Like Pat McGrath doesn't do these kind of like duochrome shades, so I feel like it would be unfair to compare them. So I didn't. I saw someone, like a makeup artist, with this, and I realised that was genius, because there are amount of times I try to find an eyeliner or a lip liner and I can't find the colour I want. Now, blush. Sorry, I know that was a lot. I already have a bias, I'm going to be honest. The Pat McGrath is 100% more my favourite because of the fact that it's more sheer and I can build it up, whereas this one goes in very intense very quickly. So I normally use a brush, but because this is so intense especially, and so I don't constantly dirty brushes, I'm going to use my fingers, which I do use my fingers for blush application as well, to be fair. So this isn't like something I've never done before. So we're going to put this on the Danessa Myricks side. If I need to blend it out, I will use the foundation brush. I think once this is blended, I think this is going to look very similar to the Pat McGrath. But I think the Pat McGrath is just ever so slightly dewier. Also, that blended out very easily. And I think it's not too intense. Now, yeah, I love a stick. I'm very similar to, I think her name's Honest Phoebe, I want to say. If you're going to put something in a stick format, make sure it can go directly on the face, because what is the point otherwise? So I'm just going to do what I normally do. I'm putting a bit more on than I normally do, due to the fact that obviously this one's ever slightly more intense. Because it's less intense, it blends in a lot faster. I'm going to turn this down, grab my foundation brush just in case I brought it a bit too far down, because this looks a little messy. So that's Pat, and that is Danessa. Honestly, actually, they both look very dewy. They're both really pretty, actually. I'm definitely going to start using this with my fingers, because look how intense that looks in comparison, just so you can see the difference. See how this is nudier? Like, if you like nude blushes, this is so pretty. This is so intense, like you have to be so careful with it. Like, if you put too much on, especially if you go in with, like, say, with a brush. I went in with just like a quick swirl. Thankfully, it turned out okay. I mean, this is like my fail-safe. I love it. I really, really do. I'm just going to do a swatch, just so you can see pigmentation-wise. They turned out very similar, didn't they? Even though, let me tell you what the grams are. I mean, they both probably have like 12 months. Oh no, this is 36 months after opening. This is 12. I will say I've had this more than 12 months, so you're fine. 6 grams and 7 grams. So this actually has more in it. I feel like it's an easier way to apply. You don't have to worry about applying too much. Are they similar prices? I'll leave the prices on the screen so you can see. Now that the eyeliner mascara is on, what they look like. I genuinely think Pat McGrath and Danessa Myricks do two completely different things. I think they are great in both of their own rights. A lot of people compare them and say like Danessa Myricks is so far ahead. Danessa Myricks doesn't have lip liners, doesn't really have lip products. There's no lipsticks, no lip glosses. The only thing I could find from her is a lip palette, which is a makeup artist sort of thing, not a everyday consumer thing. But obviously she does have a lot of foundation products, concealers. I do have her, I was considering doing a comparison of the two foundations I have, but I do feel like they're two different foundations and do two completely different things. So Pat McGrath's foundation that I have, which I love, is more similar to her Yummy Skin foundation, and I just don't think the Balm one that I have of Danessa Myricks is comparable. I don't have a Pat McGrath primer to compare that, the Balm primer, to that, so it just seemed unnecessary to compare, because they just are two different products. Danessa Myricks does not have mascaras as far as I'm aware. I don't think she has basic eyeliners as of yet. Either that or I just haven't picked them up. Pat McGrath has your more everyday consumer ones, or just even, like, say, your basics. Bronzers, Pat McGrath has a beautiful bronzer. She doesn't have a cream bronzer. I feel like a cream bronzer in this and a contour product would be really cool. Maybe like a duo, a contour on one side and a bronzer on the other, and especially customizable. I've been saying this for a while. Something that Pat McGrath needs to do to one up in some ways things that Danessa Myricks has, because this customization where you can take these out and customize it with some of the other Danessa Myricks palettes is something that Pat McGrath doesn't have. As I said, this is just a black palette and it's so hard to tell which one you have. And if you were able to pop these out and put them in a different palette, or even customize your own 10 shade palette, I think Pat McGrath would be able to do more. But yeah, let's have a quick look to see if Danessa actually has. She has a bronzer balm. Oh yeah, she has this. I hear no one talk about it, so I have no idea if it's any good. I do have one of these like liquid metal shades. It's like, it's a bit darker than this one. And I do have a similar sort of liquid eyeshadow from Pat McGrath if you want to see that compared. But like I say, I genuinely think they do two different things. Danessa is still building up her brand, so it could be that eventually she does have all of the sort of basic things that Pat McGrath already does as an established brand. Not that Danessa hasn't been around for a long time. I mean, I got those duochrome and liquid eyeshadow duos, I want to say at least 4 years ago, so I've had them for a long time. But I do think they are both luxury in their own right. It's sad that I think Pat McGrath has walked away or has stepped away from Pat McGrath Lab, hence why they went close to bankruptcy. I do think that the recent sale has given them a bunch of money to be able to work with, because they just dropped like a new, was it like a lip liner duo thing? Am I sad that I got this palette even though I already had like a bronzy sort of shade? No, genuinely think this is more cool tone. These are way more mirrored, and with this I'm not sad I got it. I've been wanting this palette for such a long time, and these glimmery shades are just, they're so pretty. I will never get over them. There's a reason why I got that one and the green one. Both of them had my arm for such a long time. I already had the one with the blue in it, the really, really cool tone one. I thought before all of those are possibly like discontinued or whatever, I wanted to make sure I got my hands on them. I think that this is such a slept on product. If you like more like nudie sort of blushes, this is so pretty. Pat McGrath glosses are all stunning. I have a bunch of her lipsticks, which I don't grab for that much, but that's because I got the wrong shade. I do think those lipsticks you do need to swatch in store because they don't appear the same, I don't think. I think I'm just going on a tangent now. I think both are great brands. Both of them I will still continue to support. I will say I think both of them do have overpriced brushes. The amount of Essence and Morphe brushes I have, I love. You don't need high-end. You don't even need luxury. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Do make sure to give us a like and subscribe. I feel like I'd really appreciate it. I'm sorry the lighting has been completely messed around. It's a really misty fucking day. I'm actually going to take a picture so you guys can see how it's a weird day. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video and I hope to see you on the next one. Bye!